All right, we are back for another episode of Micro-Saas Ideas. I got my drink here. I'm ready to go over a bunch of ideas. Last time we went over 3 Micro-Saas ideas. Today we're going to go over 7. We're going to do them even faster, and we're going to do it a little bit differently. As you guys know, I love looking at successful businesses and seeing if there's another idea we can remix off of these ideas. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be looking at successful businesses, and then we're going to be using AI to remix these ideas and give you ideas that you can walk away with today. By the end of this video, we will have 7 ideas you can go build right now. And I think you'll learn some cool things about how to potentially find more business ideas based on what we're going to go over today. All right, without further ado, let's jump in. This is the Micro-Saas database. Inside Starter Story, there are hundreds of ideas in here, and we are going to start jumping through them right now. So I don't want to waste your time. Let's go to the first one right here, which I like, which is Live Tourney. Let's click that. Okay, this is Live Tourney. This is a side project that makes $36,000 a year. It's not a bajillion-dollar business, but it's probably a pretty cool side project that we can learn from. So let's check out what this thing does. First, let's just click on the link to what they do here. We'll just click Live Tourney right here and let's check it out. Run golf tournaments with live scoring. And this looks like a SaaS for, I think this is really cool. This is a SaaS that golf courses can run to run tournaments, let's say on the weekends or something like that. So this helps them potentially drive more revenue by having a tournament with lots of people coming and playing and buying stuff. And then also it saves them a bunch of money because they don't have to manually run this with spreadsheets. It gives them an app and an easy way to run these tournaments, an easy way for people to sign up for these tournaments. This is a really cool idea. I have a suspicion that's making a whole lot more money than $3,000 a month. But let's check out the pricing and just understand a little bit more about what this is set up. Oh, interesting. Okay, so $2,700 per year. That means they probably have about 10 customers at the time that we interviewed them, which was just over a year ago. I'm guessing they've grown a little bit, hopefully, but 10 to 15 golf courses around the world use this software. Hopefully, they also charge per event, which is pretty cool too. That's kind of a smart strategy. And that's a lot of money, right? If you think about it, that makes sense because the customer here, this is kind of what's smart. The customer here is golf courses, which have more money to spend. They know that if they run tournaments, they're going to make X more dollars, and they probably only have like one guy running the pro shop there. So it makes sense. So his life is easier and they don't have to have extra people on hand to help out with their tournaments. That's cool, but I assume you guys probably don't care that much about golf. If you do, that's awesome. Let's go take a look at this idea and let's try to remix this idea. So I got this little feature here in Starter Story called Idea Remixer, which is really cool. You can open this up and basically let's try to find what makes this idea successful and try to remix it and see what kind of ideas it will give us. So what I think is interesting about this one is that it's niched down to a specific sport. So it's not a tournament software for, all sports facilities, right? It doesn't do everything for rec sense or something like that. It just does it for golf. So I'm just going to let them know that and say, I think what's cool about this is that it's niched down to just golf. Any other sports this could work for? And we're going to put this into our AI. And what's cool about this is that this is taking all the information that we have about this case study, actual founder submitted data about why it worked, what growth channels, and all these sorts of things. And also is taking place from other sources as well and looking at all of our case studies. This is really cool. So here's some ideas. It's going to give me probably like 3-4 ideas. We got one for pickleball. We got one for hoop score. I'm guessing basketball tournaments. We got one for e-tourney esports. I like that one too. That's really cool. Fortnite, right? That seems like it could potentially work. The one that I want to just go look at, and we'll talk a little bit about here. Obviously, you can go try this on your own too. Is pickleball, because that's the first thing that I see because I'm a tennis player and I know just how big pickleball is getting. That's piquing my interest right now. Why could it work? Which I really like here. Pickleball is exploding in popularity, especially with older demographics, underserved by tech, and with more money to spend. I actually went to a pickleball tournament, I think last year, even though I don't even play pickleball regularly. This stuff is happening everywhere. There are tournaments all over. This could be super useful. So this is just one way to remix this idea. There's lots of different ways you could potentially remix this idea. I think it's cool to look at certain niche sports. Again, these are Micro-Saas ideas serving one customer with a very specific solution, tournaments for pickleball. I think that's a cool idea. And that's rapid fire. So we're going to go to the next one. All right, let's go to our next idea, our second idea. I'm back on the Micro-Saas ideas database, which you can click the link in the description if you want to get this. Let's go for a little bit bigger revenue. I'm seeing we're in the around 20,000 per month, which is pretty good sized business at this point. I like this one right here, data fetcher. I just hear data fetcher. That's kind of cool. It makes me think there's like some sort of API or something like that. And I'm seeing connect Airtable to any app or API with no code. I like those words, no code. I like the word API. I'm a developer, so that's cool to me. I want to learn a little bit more about this business. Let's see. Okay, so this is Data Fetcher, how I built an Airtable plugin that lets users manage their data better, makes $270,000 a year. That's a pretty good business right there. One founder, 0 employees. I like this. I like what I'm seeing right here. Let's learn a little bit more about this business. Let's go see what they do. Data Fetcher. And this is connect any API to Airtable without code. Okay, that's cool. Data Fetcher, and I just like to read through this and understand who is the customer here. What does it do? Data Fetcher is the no-code solution for importing API data into Airtable. Connect any REST or GraphQL API. Okay, cool. The first thing I really like to see here is this is a product that's used by Amazon, Harvard, Stanford, blah, blah, blah. These are real big businesses using this. That's always a good sign for a Micro-Saas, is that it's an app that serves businesses. And that was what we said in the last one too. I'll go to their pricing and see how much they charge here. It's $30 a month, or well, I guess it's $50 a month. And then they also have annually there. Cool. I think that's a cool little business. One thing that I think makes this business successful is that it's built on Airtable, which is a platform that companies use for their first party data. So let's say that in Amazon, there's some department and they have all their data on Airtable. That's where all their whole team is going in and out of and updating things, but they want to be able to connect that to something else. I think that's one of the most important things, that this is a platform where the first party data is hosted. So things like Notion, Google Sheets, these sorts of things. I think that's important. So when we go to try to remix this, let's go make sure that we ask it that. So I'll go back to my data fetcher here and I'll open up my idea remixer, and I'll just say that. I'll say, what I like about this business is that it's built on Airtable, where bigger businesses use this to manage their data first party. What other platforms are big businesses storing their data for their teams to access? Let's see. So that's kind of the premise of this, is where do big businesses store their data for team access? Because I'm thinking, okay, how can I build something that has 1,000 customers, charging them $30 a month? And that's a really, really good business right there, right? So that is... okay, we're getting lots of cool things here. These are all really, really big. I would probably jump over Google Workspace, Google Sheets, because everybody uses those. But also that could be, a sign that maybe is something good to use. I think building on top of Microsoft could be interesting there. But again, I want to give you just one specific idea to be able to walk away with here. And the one that I personally like is probably Monday.com. We actually had partnered with them on a previous video. They are looking for developers to help build apps on their platform, and they are huge. So let's dive into that real quick. Monday.com, tell me some more of the numbers on that. And is it underserved in terms of apps? Could I build this there? Okay, and that's what's cool about this idea remixer, is you can have it dive deeper and deeper into try to really get curious about this idea. Monday.com has 180,000 paying customers, and their customer base is 20% enterprise, 42% mid-market. What that means is big companies are using this. That potentially could be even more powerful than something like Notion, right? It's just more corpo, which means you can make more money from it. So this is actually a really good idea. I would dive deeper into potentially remixing this idea on Monday.com's platform and really not changing a whole lot. I know based on some information that Monday.com is trying to build out their developer ecosystem. They want more apps, they want more developers, and that's where I think there could be an opportunity. So That's the second idea. Let's go to the third idea. Let's keep going here. We are doing these stupid rapid fire. I see another one that I kind of like here, which is App Store Spy, App Market Intelligence. I always love stuff that's kind of like based around like, intelligence or databases and that sort of thing. And that kind of reminds me a little bit of what we do at Starter Story. So I'm going to click on that and see what this app does. Micro-Saas makes $8,000 a month and helps apps spy on their competitors. That's cool here. So this is cool. Seems like, okay, they take a bunch of apps and they get you a bunch of data on these apps. Let's go check out what this does. Find your next big app idea with real-time data from over 15 million apps. So they go through the iOS App Store and the Play Store, and they get a bunch of data. How many reviews, how many downloads, how much money are these apps making? This is a cool idea, especially if you're a data nerd like me. Let's check out the pricing. This is $19 a month and $99 a month. Seems like you don't get a whole lot on that one. I'm guessing, whenever an app has it highlighted as the most popular plan, that's what they're trying to get most people to buy. So this is cool. I feel like this business is probably making a little bit more money. We interviewed them almost 2 years ago. I bet they're a lot bigger now. And I'm seeing that they have pretty good traffic here when I check that out. So they are growing, and I think that's really, really cool. Let's figure out what makes this successful. I don't really know what makes this successful. And this is another cool thing about our idea remixer is that Starter Story knows we don't necessarily have to know. So let's go to our idea remixer. Let's open this up. And I don't really have anything to say about this. I think it's a cool idea. Go for it. I'm just going to say, is there anything? Yeah, it's asking me, should I just get working for you? Go for it. Let's see what it has. And let's see if there's anything cool that comes up here. Okay, there's a couple cool things in here. I kind of like Newsletter Spy, but I would want to build on a growing platform or space. I feel like newsletters, just in my opinion, they're maybe not growing as fast as they used to grow. What's really growing right now? I think apps are really growing right now. They'll always grow. But what also is growing is different local markets. And that's the one I like about this. This is the remix angle on this one is geography. So it's the same idea, but instead obsess over emerging markets, because I bet there's a bunch of apps that are growing in LATAM, Africa, and these sorts of things. So I will potentially just ask it and I'll say, hey, I like idea number 4. What is the fastest growing geography for apps right now? That's what I want to know. And India. That's super interesting and makes a lot of sense. 700 million smartphone users, which is 2 times bigger than probably the entire US in terms of actual population. So I imagine that is a really, really hot place to build an idea like this. So not everything needs to be remixed into a different category or whatever. Sometimes it can just purely be a geography remix. And AI coding tools and all these new tools that are coming out right now is making it possible for an actual business to be successful that just niches down. Yeah, they have big apps like App Store Spy or Sensor Tower, which is another big app that gives you intelligence. But what if you just did it for India? And I think that could be a kind of cool idea. Okay, we are back to Micro-Saas ideas. Let's go to idea number 4. This app is making $10,000 a month. I like this one here, software for sports facilities. Similar to the first idea we covered, I love sports stuff. And especially if you're passionate and have a hobby or something like that, it's cool to build, building the app intelligence thing for India is cool if you're super into data, but maybe you're into sports. So let's check out what this app does. This is the Swift app right here. And this is 3 friends turned a fun side project into $120K per year SaaS for sports facility owners. Okay, what does this thing actually do? Let's just go check out their website because sometimes that's the easiest way. Is grow your sports facility on autopilot. Spend less time on the phone and more time growing your business. Okay, I see. Cool. Industries. Let's see what kind of industries they cover. Okay, so I see. You have a baseball facility or a soccer facility, a rec center or whatever these things are. This is going to help you manage your memberships, your upgrades, your events, and all these things. Let's go check out their pricing, which doesn't seem to be on the page. They don't show their pricing, which is interesting. I guess you can book a free demo and then potentially go further from there. It does seem like their traffic is picking up, it's growing, and this is a cool SaaS. This is a cool micro SaaS that serves clearly small businesses. I can go and look at, looks like a lot of baseball. I'm seeing a lot of baseball, maybe batting cages and things like that. That's pretty cool. Okay, I think there are two ways you could potentially remix this before we go into the AI. One is to go, this is very horizontal. So they cover baseball and softball and hockey and ice rinks. Those are very different. You could go niche, maybe just build a better hockey and ice rinks one, or potentially you can go find a different category that's outside of sports. Let's try to find that other category because I'm kind of interested. What could that be? Let's go try that. So we'll go to our idea remixer right here and we'll say it seems this business serves lots of sports facilities. What types of other local facilities or small businesses could use a platform like this? Ooh, I like this already. Okay, I like this here. The first one that I kind of like is this kind of kids indoor playgrounds and family centers. I don't know a whole lot about this because I don't have kids, but I imagine that daycares or just any sort of kids facilities is kind of similar to Swift app because they're also serving sports facilities, which often is a lot of kids. But what could be different is this kids indoor playgrounds or family centers. So party booking, kids gym and trampoline parks and play cafes and lots of things. Because look, people that have kids, they're always looking for things for their kids to do to keep them busy, whether it's daycare or just going out to different events or things like that. So I'm going to have it dive a little bit deeper on that one. Let's see. I like this one right here, and let's see. Okay, so I had to dive a little deeper on this play care one because I really want to know a little bit more about this one. And we got some really cool stuff here. I won't go too much into it, but this is the core concept right here, which is a modern booking and management system for indoor playgrounds, trampoline parks, party centers, and soft play cafes. I never heard of a soft play cafe, but maybe that's some sort of growing thing. I would look more into that. It handles reservations, birthday party bookings, time slot management, parent comms, digital waivers, upselling, and all these sorts of things. It's very similar in nature to what Swift app covers. And I think that could be interesting. And what's cool out here is also we got a distribution strategy. This is all based on what worked for this business. You could potentially go and do it for something else. Okay, let's keep going. I told you we're going to do lots of different business ideas here. Let's go over another one here. Let's look through this here. I see, okay, this one's cool. Okay, this one's doing $145,000 a month. So this is nearly $2 million per year business. It is music data analytics. Let's take a look at the case study here. How these friends bootstrapped a $1 million per year business out of their love for music. And I like this sort of stuff because I love to see businesses that aren't just totally boring B2B type things. This is built off of a love for sports or music or art and things like that. I love that sort of stuff. So super cool to see people winning in that area. But let's go check out what SongStats does. SongStats is real-time music data and analytics for artists and labels. And, it's kind of similar to the App Store idea that we saw is you just get lots and lots of data. I love businesses that cover data. Let's see what their pricing is. That's a little confusing there, but it's 20 euros per month after the trial. So it's a little cheaper than people looking up the App Store thing because maybe these are artists. These are people that are trying to grow their plays on Spotify or whatever it is. So I really like this business. Let's go take a look again a little bit more at why they were successful. Interesting. So they give you insights across Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Shazam. So I imagine that, wow. And they have over 6,000 customers subscribed to SongStats and they're approaching $1 million in annual recurring revenue. That's awesome. We interviewed them about 2 years ago. So I imagine they're doing even more. I mean, the first thing that I would look at is their traffic. Yeah, it's growing, and they're doing almost 500,000 in monthly visits per month. This is a really cool business. Let's go and remix it. So I kind of like this one because it is a little bit lower market. It's not just for businesses, it's for artists. I think that's somewhat interesting. Music. So I don't really have crazy thing about what's interesting about this, but I don't really know exactly why this works. So I'll ask it. Let's see. Explain to me why this works and some other ideas it could work for. Okay, so this is cool. Instead of giving me a bunch of ideas, it's kind of explaining a little bit more about why this thing worked. And this is the thing that I thought was actually really interesting here. Visibility is everything in music. Timely data leads to smarter promotion and career moves. SongStats made it low friction and actionable. I'm going to plug that in and see what other ideas can be built off of this. Could capture this truth. Okay. That's cool. I got a lot of cool things from here. Again, the podcasting thing comes up, but I don't really love that idea because podcasts are one of those things that are kind of like harder to grow. But one that I do like here, it's a little bit more niche because there's probably less authors in the world than there are musicians. However, there are a lot of similar things mentioned here. Is visibility is everything in music. Timely data leads to smarter promotion and career moves. SongStats made it low friction and actionable. So this is kind of cool. The other thing that I thought was interesting about SongStats was that there's lots of different platforms where it wants to get all of its data. With this idea, it's kind of cool because you could track features, reviews, everything about your books across all different platforms, Amazon, Goodreads, Wattpad, and so on and so forth. Why it could work: indie self-pub authors struggle to see their growing impact as data is fragmented. This is like a Fitbit, drives smarter promotion, celebratory moments, and fan engagement. So I really like that one. If you can niche down and do something similar, but for authors, this is all data you can get across of all other places. And I think this could be a small little niche way to carve out that same idea. Look, that's not a business that's going to become $1 million overnight, but it's a cool SaaS business that I think will grow for a long time. There will always be authors and people writing books, and it takes advantage of that visibility is everything, which is really, really important for authors, especially big ones. And for the final idea, I thought we were going to get to 7 ideas today, but that might have been a little too ambitious. So we're just going to do one more idea here. I'm going to scroll through this. Let's find a big daddy, something that is making a bunch of money, and let's see what we can find here. So this one looks cool. Prerender.io allows search engines to crawl SEO-friendly versions of React, Angular, and JavaScript website. This makes $220,000 a month. Crazy. That's huge. $2.5 million a year nearly. And $0 to start this, 86 solopreneur score. This is badass. This one is awesome. 1 founder, 4 employees. That is a very, very profitable business. This case study is a little bit old, but I wanted to share this one because I think why this works actually is the most important thing. So prerender.io, if I go check out what this thing does, get your JavaScript website crawled, indexed, and found. Basically what this does is if you have a website built on a JavaScript framework, Google struggles to crawl your website, which can hurt your SEO. And this is a no-brainer solution that businesses will pay for because SEO is really, really important. Do I think you should copy this business now or remix this and do it for a different language or something like that? Probably not. But I think the reason why it was successful is actually the reason what we can use to find another idea. Again, I'm going to go to the pricing on this one. They're charging $290 a month, and they have usage-based pricing, super smart. But let's go and remix this idea. So let's check this here. We are remixing prerender.io. And I'm going to just say that what we said is what I think is what I think made this successful is that was built on a growing trend, JavaScript frameworks, and it solved a new problem that these frameworks created. Now, I want you to analyze it in that lens. What is the big new growing trend in web technologies, and what problems could be solved with similar businesses? Okay, there's some cool ideas here. And actually, I think this one is really, really cool because it hits on a pain point for me. So this is the remix angle of this is carving out the audience and a feature and building on the growing trend, which is AI. So the one-liner behind this app is that it's a plug-and-play firewall for web apps that use LLMs. So chatbots, AI forms, this chatbot that you're looking at right here could use this. It monitors prompts, it blocks abuse, and it logs user and AI interaction, right? Just as single page apps needed SEO fixes, now every site is slapping on AI features. They're potentially exposing their keys, or they're getting their bills run up like crazy. This happened to me the other day when I didn't have certain rate limiting feature on my app, and I got charged $100 because I have an online presence. They wanted to troll me and make me spend a bunch of money on an LLM when they weren't actually using the feature. This could be a really cool idea, and I think it does hit on, hey, we will save you money because we'll prevent people from abusing your app, and we'll give you, you'll save money. Maybe you pay $30 a month for this or $100 a month for something like this, but you'll save a lot of money. This could be super actually useful for this crazy growing AI trend. I think that is a super cool idea, again, because the thing that made this grow was that the JavaScript frameworks were going crazy. There's a lot of growth there. I don't even need to explain how AI is, the big next growing thing, especially in development, web development, and that sort of thing. I think that's a cool idea. Again, you can go in here and you can remix it in different ways. I think that's super cool. So that's it, guys. That is 6 Micro-Saas ideas. Hopefully this gave you some ideas how to look at successful businesses and see if they can be remixed in different ways. There's remixing it for a different niche. There's remixing it for a different geography. We went over a bunch of those things. Hopefully you learned something from this. If you're looking to build anything in here or you have an idea, please check out Start a Story Build. You'll take your idea, build it, launch it in just 12 days. We have our 12-day AI Build Bootcamp. Our whole program is built around it. You can see the whole syllabus right here. If you're serious about building, I think this is awesome. The stuff that people are building in here is amazing. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.